I am going to show you how you can make your own custom pop-up card in Cricut Design Space. First, I went online and started looking for some pop-up card templates. You can see there's a basic card shape, and then there's another piece that's slightly smaller that has a score line, and then some cut lines, and then these red lines are score lines again. You're doing that because in the end what you want is for the pieces to fold on those score lines, and then this is that center score line going through the whole card, and then it's going to cut so that they pop out. So how can we achieve that same thing with some free basic shapes? Well, first, taking our basic card, we need to make the inside piece. So I'm going to go in my offset, but slide it this way so that it's an inset. And then hit apply. I am going to change the color of this book card. It's going to be like a tan. So let's do that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So what I need on this tan piece is a score line going straight through the center. So I'm going to go to my shapes, insert a score line. This piece is 5 inches wide, so I am going to make this score line 5 inches and rotate it 90 degrees. Now I can take both of those and say align it to the center and attach that score line. Attach will hold the placement in position. Now I can move it around and it's not going to change position at all on me. So to do those pop out pieces, I'm going to take a shape. Let's just insert a square. And let's make this a 1/2 inch wide. And 2 inches tall. So I'm going to be using this as a guide because what I want is a cut line on either side and a score line at the top and bottom. If I wanted this to score all the way around, I could change this entire shape to be a score line. But I need 2 sides of it to cut and 2 sides of it to score. So this is what I do. I insert a line that's going to be 2 inches because that's the same as the height of this rectangle. I change it from score to cut. And now I can take both of those and say align to the top and align to the left. Let's zoom in so we can see better. I'm going to make this white just so that you can see a little bit. There's that darker line there. Okay. I am going to take these and group these together because I want this to stay exactly how I have it here. I want the grouping to still work together. Now I'm going to duplicate that cut line and say align this to the right and align it to the top. And it's right there. Now if I had not grouped, it would have aligned that first cut line over to the right, and that's not what we wanted to do. But because I went group, it's holding that outline. So now we can say up here, we want a 1/2 inch rotated 90 degree score line. And let's go align to the top and align. Doesn't really matter if I do left or right because it's going to go across the whole thing. group. And now that's all together. Okay, if I look right here on my layers panel, I can see this is the horizontal score line. Also, when I click on it, you get the dimensions there. So I'm just going to duplicate that one. And then I can grab all of that and say align that one to the bottom and align it to the left group. So now if I delete this square, you can see what I'm left with is a grouping of cut and score lines combined in a rectangle shape. So let's bring those over here by our card piece that we're going to place them on. I am going to make 3 of these just so I have a spacing that I can kind of use for any card that I want to make. Okay, so this is all grouped together. So now I can just right click and say duplicate. That is going to duplicate the entire grouping of 4 items at the same time. Makes it a lot easier. So now I can take these 3 and kind of space them out how I would want them. That's a pretty good spacing actually. And I can say take these 3 groupings and align them to the top. And then I can even say distribute them evenly horizontally. And you see it moved that center one so that's equally distributed there. So now I can group that whole thing. So now all 3 of these are working as a group. So now I can say center this grouping on top of this by going align center, and see how it placed it right in the center? Perfectly aligned. The last thing I want to do is click attach. Attach is going to hold the placement in position of all of those elements. So now I can place this back over here, and when I go and hit make it, it will score the dash lines, so that's the top and bottom, and through the center. And then it'll cut those lines, which will allow me to pop things forward. First thing, load your mat into your Cricut. I like to hold on to the end of the mat while I press that double arrow so it fully loads. Next, I want to make sure my stylus for scoring is inserted before I press that blinking C button to get things going. You can either use the scoring stylus, or if you have the maker, you could use the scoring wheel. It puts an indent or a crease wherever you're going to want a fold line to go. What I really like about when projects have both scoring and cutting on it, the Cricut stops so that I know it's time to switch to cutting. And then I can press the button to say, okay, go ahead and do the cutting now. So now you'll see it come back through. Let's zoom in. It's going to come back through and cut those vertical lines and then cut the card shape. Now we can take the cardstock off the mat. I like to peel away the excess stuff first. That's just me. And then I come in with my little spatula tool and get a corner started. Here's a fun trick. Flip the whole thing over and then peel the mat away from your cardstock. This helps to prevent the cardstock from curling up. And I feel like it works really great for cards. So now I'm going to find those fold lines, those score lines, and kind of help them along because it's going to go in and out and in and out and back and forth when I start to try to pop these out. So I'm just using my finger to kind of roll some of those forward on that bottom score line. And then I'll find the middle score line and kind of pinch them to get them started. And then I'll come along to the top and work those, and just kind of starting to form the shape. And then you'll see that I come in with my finger and really help define that center fold line again right here. So I find the crease and kind of use my finger to rub it in. Then after I've done all that, I'm going to fold the card in half and really press it down. And I also want to grab my bone folder. It is basically a hard piece of plastic. If you don't have a bone folder, grab a credit card and just kind of run it over everything. It helps to define those creases even more. From the side view, it kind of looks like a little row of tables. So now this is what we're going to use to build our pop-up card on top of. I am going to use a tape runner and apply some of that to the main card base. And then I want to fold this in half and kind of line it up on that fold line. And then I'm going to fold it over and see if this lines up nice. It did not. So let's try that again. Luckily, this tape is kind of forgiving. So I'm going to, again, line things up. I'm going to line it up this way. So it lines up on that bottom fold, and now I can see the border nicely. So what you want to do is basically check that both of those center folds are lining up between the pop-up part and the main base card. And then you can stick some tape in here, fold that side up, and boom, now we're ready to decorate it and embellish it. I think this is my favorite part about the pop-up card. You can pick any embellishments, die cuts, shapes, themes that you want and apply them to this card. I picked some dinosaur things. I was just going to put a little dinosaur popping up off of the pieces that pop forward. But then I saw this tree. I was like, well, that would look cute behind it. And then there were these areas of grass. I was like, oh, if I put these on either side of the dinosaur, it all just started to come together. So I'm just applying glue to different sections. You could use a tape runner like I did for the big tree, and then just start to glue all and adhere all the different pieces into your card. You can even see on this card where I did a process called inking the edges. You can see it really good on that piece of grass. And I just took a marker and ran it around the outer edge of that entire piece. And it kind of helped define the piece a little bit more and make it pop out, but it also helped cover up the white cardstock inside of the card. Let your glue dry, and then your pop-up card is ready to send. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I love to hear from you.